Our gospel story, the story of the road to Emmaus, is one of my favourites. It's a story about a journey and about an encounter with Jesus. And so it's a powerful metaphor for our Christian journey. These two disciples are trudging home away from Jerusalem, presumably to resume their working lives after the excitement and then, as they saw it, the disaster of Holy Week in Jerusalem. They'd seen their master crucified, died on a cross. And Jesus approaches them and walks with them. But they don't recognise him. They're too preoccupied. They're too gloomy, probably. Jesus approaches us in our daily lives, on our trudge through life, if you like. And the question is, are we ready to recognise him? Of course, we know that we can meet Jesus through our church services, through reading the Bible and through prayer. But we can just as easily meet Jesus in the warp and weft of our daily life, at work, at home, in our encounter with other people, with friends or strangers. Are we prepared and ready to recognise Jesus as he walks with us? So Jesus joined the disciples on their journey. He walked with them and he walks with us too. But they were puzzled. They'd seen Jesus die, and then they'd heard stories that he might have risen from the dead. But what sense could they make of that? It can be difficult for us too to discern God in the world that we live in, where evil seems to triumph over good, where millions starve when some get rich, when the planet's in a mess, and where right now we're locked down because of the coronavirus. Where is God in all of this? Where is the voice of Christ on our journey? Jesus didn't give them any easy answers. He didn't reveal himself obviously to them and say, look, it's me. But he challenged their view of Scripture. He made them realise that their understanding of their own religious belief was completely wrong. They were expecting a Messiah as a military leader. He showed them through Scripture that the Messiah had to suffer in order to triumph. And that's what Jesus can do on our journey as well. He can turn our preconceptions upside down. He can radically challenge our view of the world and say, look, here is a better way. Here is a more profound living way, if you follow me. Then at the end of the story, as Jesus makes as if to go on, they invite him in and they recognise him in the breaking of bread. And it says their hearts burned within them. Burning, of course, can be painful and uncomfortable. It can also be purifying. But the flame gives great energy and warmth to our hearts. And that's what Jesus can do on our journey. As we recognise him through the breaking of the bread, through our meeting together, through our Christian fellowship, and indeed through encountering him in the people around us, so our hearts can be set on fire with love for Jesus. And the last thing they did was they rushed straight back to Jerusalem and told the good news to their friends. And we can do the same. So we're challenged to respond to Jesus on our journey, to welcome him as our companion in our daily lives, to learn from him and to be ready to be challenged by him, to meet him in the breaking of the bread, and to have our lives transformed by the flame of his love.